I'm Al from Dino Flash Videos. Thanks for watching. And today we're going to talk to you about what to do if you're pulled over by police for a speeding ticket and how to get out of it. Okay, so we don't have any police officers to assist us in teaching you how to get out of speeding tickets, so we're going to do a little make-believe like I used to do when I used to watch Mr. Rogers when I was a kid. So first things first, when you get in your car, the first thing you should do is have all your license and your registration and everything in hand, okay? So get that in your glove box, everything organized and you know, ready to go. So let's pretend that the policeman has just clocked me speeding and is pulling me over, okay? So the first thing I want to do as soon as I see him coming to pull me over is I want to put my turn signal on. My turn signal is on now in the Porsche. We don't hear it, okay? But take my word on it, I put my turn signal on. The policeman's behind me with his lights on. Okay, what am I doing? I'm looking for a place to pull over where it's safe, okay? So I'm going to pull over here as soon as possible to a place that's very safe. Now, not safe for me in my car, safe for the policeman, okay? So I'm pulling over, okay, as far as I can to the side of the road, okay? And I'm over to the side, okay? I stop the car, okay? And I'm gonna turn off the car. I'm gonna take my keys and put them up on the dash, okay? That's the way I do it. Actually, before I do that, let me drop the window down, okay? I have my hazard lights on. Okay, and now I'm taking the keys and I'm putting them here, and now I'm going to take my hands and put them on the steering wheel at the 10 and the 2 o'clock position, right? And I'm not going to move my hands until the police officer comes up to my vehicle. Okay, now why am I doing this? What are the reasons for this behavior? Okay, this may seem counterintuitive, right? Well, the reasons for this are, look, the policeman's doing a job, right? What is his job? His job, you know, is to enforce the traffic laws and possibly look for people who are criminals, right? Traffic infraction stops are basically, you know, often a pretext just to look for more serious criminals, you know, people who have arrest warrants, you know, and people who, you know, are carrying drugs and firearms and weapons, you know. So the policeman is kind of like, when he's pulling you over for a traffic stop, it's kind of like an unknown situation. Doesn't know what he's coming, or she, and a lot of policewomen don't know what they're encountering when they're pulling you over. So by being submissive, right, and pulling over to the side, putting yourself in a safe situation for the police officer, okay? The reason why I'm doing this out on a live highway is that you can see all these cars going by, right? In the last year, I believe 19 state troopers have been killed standing on the side of the highway trying to pull people over, right? So you can be sure that police officers everywhere are very concerned about this recent, you know, uptick in police fatalities, you know, issuing tickets and doing routine traffic stops, right? And if you know, make the extra effort to pull over as far to the right as possible, right, into a safe spot, even if you have to pull up on the shoulder a little bit with your car to make the police officer, you know, have that buffer of safety so he can put his kind of car off a little bit to the left of your car, you know, and create that safety zone so when he pulls out, he's standing behind your, you know, when he's standing next to your window, he has his car blocking, right, to protect himself from being run over, right? That's going to make the police officer more comfortable, okay? Second thing is, when he comes up to your car, okay, with your hands in clear view on the steering wheel with your car turned off and the keys up on the dashboard, he knows that you're not going anywhere, okay? And he sees your hands are up there in clean view. Also, if you have anybody else in the vehicle, have them either put their hands on their knees or on the dash also, okay? The worst thing you could possibly do when you're encountering the police, if you have passengers, is have them moving around in the vehicle, you know, acting nervously, you know, and what that's doing is it's telling the officer maybe this person's hiding weapons or drugs. All right, so the police officer is going to be suspicious, you know, and it's going to escalate the traffic stop into an investigation to determine, you know, are you carrying drugs? Do you have weapons? You know, having to take people out of the vehicle and search for weapons and drugs, and you just don't want that, okay? So remember this: when a police officer pulls you over for a motor vehicle infraction or a traffic stop, right, they don't have to give you a ticket, all right? They have the absolute discretion to just give you a verbal warning and let you go, okay? So everything I'm telling you in this video is geared towards maximizing your chances that the policeman is going to exercise their discretion and say, you know what, this person is a halfway decent person and I'm going to let them go. Now, I don't know what kind of job you're in or what you do for work. We all have our different jobs, right? You know, we all encounter that difficult, you know, obnoxious, irritating, pain in the ass person that, you know, we encounter, right? Let me tell you something. If you make yourself that person when you get pulled over by a police officer and he's coming to give you a ticket, for instance, you know, there's these people that roll down their window like, you know, a quarter of an inch when it's raining, let's say, you know, and then they pass out the license like it's a McDonald's drive-through to the police officer. Do you really think there's any chance the police officer is not going to give them a ticket? Or another one, you know, the police officer comes up to the car, and right before the police officer says anything, the person says to the police officer, "What are you pulling me over for?" You know? Do you really think there's any chance the policeman is going to give you a break? Okay, so listen, how are we going to handle this situation, all right? Number one, keep your hands on the wheel, okay? So look, when the police officer comes up to the car, okay, they're going to approach you from behind your shoulder. That's where they're going to come at you. They're not going to stand up in front of you. They're going to come at you from behind your shoulder, okay? They're going to be on the alert, ready to pull out their sidearm and defend themselves in case you do anything, you know, quick, you know, make any quick moves or reach for any weapons, okay? They're on the alert. They're ready for anything that happens to protect themselves, all right? They're out there by themselves, you know, encountering strange people. They don't know what's going to happen, okay? So their safety is their paramount concern. So do everything you can to keep them at ease, okay? So my hands are on my steering wheel. My window's down all the way, okay? If it's nighttime, I put my dome light on, okay, to illuminate the vehicle so the policeman can see there's nothing here in the vehicle that's dangerous, you know, or harmful to the police officer. And there's no weapons that I can access, okay? So the police officer, here's a tough situation, right? Because we want to cooperate with the policeman as much as possible and make his or her job as easy as we can. At the same time, we don't want to incriminate ourselves, okay? Because there's a possibility if we do get a ticket that we want to take the case to trial, right? If there's any error on the part of the police in doing the stop, which we'll get into possibly at another day for another video, you know, how to fight your case at trial, right? We don't want to do is we don't want to make an admission, okay? Now, under the 5th Amendment of the United States Constitution, right, you do not have to make a self-incriminating statement, okay? So if the policeman asks you, he's going to come up, definitely he's going to ask you one of the two following questions, okay? He's going to ask you either A, do you know why I'm pulling you over? And you should say in the most polite way possible, as polite as possibly can, gee, officer, you know, I really don't. How are you doing today? Be polite, but at the same time, don't admit, yeah, I know why you're pulling me over, because I'm driving like an asshole. I'm doing 100 miles an hour in my Porsche Turbo, and you caught me. You know what? Because you just admitted everything, and he's going to write it down, or maybe he has a body camera on, and he has evidence that you just admitted violating the law, so he's got you, right? So you're not going to make that statement. That would be ludicrous, right? But at the same time, we have to walk the line between not admitting violation of a crime, right, and being friendly to him, right? So when he comes up, if he says, do you know why I'm pulling you over, right, you're not going to say, officer, you know, am I being detained or am I free to go? Because if I'm not being detained, then I'm not answering any, I'm just going to leave. And if I'm being detained, I'm asserting the 5th Amendment, I'm not going to answer any questions, right? Because what you're doing is you're creating a very confrontational situation with that officer, and he's definitely going to give you a ticket, 100%. He may even try to find other things to give you a ticket for, maybe some addition to speeding, maybe some, you know, equipment violations like a loud exhaust, or he'll give you a whole bunch of tickets because you just really, you know, defied his authority and irritated him. So what we're trying to do right here, we're trying to diffuse the situation and calm everyone down, okay? Make him or her feel that you respect their authority, which we do. You know what? We all have a job to do, okay? I have my job to do. You have your job, the policeman or police officer. And if you're a police sergeant or a police officer watching this video, you know what? We respect you, and we also, at Dino Flash Videos, we respect our armed forces and military members throughout the entire world protecting, you know, our American way of life. We respect you because you have a job to do. You know what? If it wasn't for the law enforcement, you know, this society would be filled with anarchy. So we need the police officers to enforce the law. Okay, we just don't want to get tickets. It's that simple. So if at all possible, let's use a little diplomacy, you know, and some methods that I'm going to show you to avoid getting a ticket if it's possible. And you know what? I've been driving for a long time, and I drive pretty quickly. I haven't had a ticket in a long time, so maybe this will work for you. Okay, so by the way, another hint: if you have a phone, when the policeman's coming up to your car, before he pulls you over, turn it off. It's annoying my video, and you know what? Turn off the phone so it's not going off when the policeman's coming up. Just turn off your phone. Don't take any phone calls when everyone's on the phone these days, right? If the policeman comes up, don't reach for your phone. Don't make a video, right? I love making YouTube videos. Don't make a YouTube video of your interaction with the policeman. Don't you know, don't talk on the phone when the policeman comes up to the car. Just interact with the policeman, okay? So, you know, do you know why I'm pulling you over? No, gee, officer, I really don't know why you're pulling me over. Okay, another one they may ask you, do you know how fast you were going? Well, you know what? A lot of times, let's just say the speed limit was 55, right? And you were doing about 80. So, and he says, you know how fast you were going? He got you doing 80. You know you were going 80, so you think to yourself, you know what? I'm gonna say I was going 65. So that's gonna make things seem a little less severe than they really were, right? So you say, yeah, officer, I was going around 65, right? Well, you just made an incriminating statement. You just admitted speeding, because you know what? Anything over 55 is speeding. So you just admitted to him you were going. You just admitted you were going 65 and a 55, so you're already, if he has a body cam or he has a dash cam back on his police cruiser with a microphone recording what you just said, you've just admitted that you were speeding. So, you know, you're going to be found guilty if you take your case to trial. So, number two is, you know, you're not helping out your case because he has you clocked at 80 and now you're telling him you're doing 65. Basically, in his or her eyes, you're a liar because he knows you were doing 80 and you're saying you're doing 65. So the better answer, here's a great answer. You know how fast you were going? You know, officer, I really don't. I have a lot of things going on. I just wasn't paying attention. That's the best possible answer. Okay, so at this point, what have we done? What have we accomplished? A, when the policeman was ready to pull us over, instead of being a jerk and continuing on our journey for miles and, you know, letting him throw all his horns and lights, you know, and saying, pull over, right? We immediately, as soon as we saw him, we put our turn signal on and we pulled over to the right. Secondly, we put our vehicle in a very safe position, letting him see that we respect his safety or her safety, and we're showing him that we have some respect. Third, we killed our ignition. We put the keys on the dashboard so he knows we're not taking off. We dropped our window down all the way, whether it's raining or dry or cold or whatever. We have our hands on the dashboard, okay? Finally, policeman's going to say, even if he's going to decide to let you go with a warning and let you go, he's going to say, can I see your license and registration? Okay? It's a normal inquiry. They're going to do it because they're going to check you to see if there's any warrants for your arrest. Make sure your license and your registration is good on your car. You have insurance and your registration is valid. So otherwise they have to tow your car. Okay? So you know, assuming that you're not a criminal with warrants, you have nothing to worry about. Okay? But here's how you're going to do it. So the officer says, can I see your license and registration? Sure, officer. Officer, by the way, my wallet is underneath my right hip. Would you mind if I take my right hand and reach for my wallet right now? Is that okay? And the officer's going to say, sure, go ahead, do it. But what you've just done by doing that, right, is you've just shown the officer respect, right? Now, a lot of people are going to tell me, Al, you're a punk. Why are you being, why are you being a bitch and asking permission from this police officer, right, for everything you're going to do? Like, you're a grown man. You don't have to ask the policeman, I want to reach into my wallet and get my license out, right? He's working for you. You're paying his taxes, right? No, that's not the way it works, right? I have my hands on the steering wheel. He's the man with the badge and the gun, right? He is putting his life at danger doing these motor vehicle stops, right? He's concerned about his safety, and rightfully so, because there's lunatics out there, right? So I want to make sure that he knows that he's safe, okay? That's my job, is to make sure that the policeman is not feeling uncomfortable, right, with this motor vehicle stop, and that he's totally at ease, and that he knows that I get it, and that I know what he's going through, okay? So I want to make this as painless and as smooth as possible for the police officer, right? So when he says, sure, go for it, I say, okay, I'm going into my wallet now to get my driver's license, officer. Thank you. I reach back and I get my license out. Then I say, officer, my registration is in my glove box. Okay, may I go into my glove box and get my registration out? Yes, you can. Okay. So I go out, I get my registration out, and I put my documents together, and I hand it out to the policeman. Thank you very much, officer. Thank you. Here you go. I appreciate everything you're doing. Just like that, I appreciate everything you're doing. And give it to him. And put your hands back on the steering wheel. Now, he's probably going to go back to his car, right? And he's probably going to run your, go on his radio and call in your license and your registration and make sure that everything is straight, all the documents are in order, right? Meanwhile, what are you going to do, okay? Now, a lot of knuckleheads, right, what they're going to do is they're going to pick up their phone, they're going to start calling their friends and saying, yo, dog, I got pulled over by some cops, and they're going to be on the phone talking, right? So the cop is going to be sitting in his car and watching you, moving all around your car, right? Some people are going to be saying, you know what, my car is really messy, so you know what, this is a good time to reach around and clean up and organize my car. I got this bottle of water here, so let me reach down and grab the bottle of water and have something to drink. Moving all around the car, right? What is a policeman thinking, right? What is he thinking when you're doing all that stuff, right? What is he thinking? In his car, he's watching you, right? Because he's right behind you, right? With lights on you, right? And he's seeing your head moving around, you're moving around and moving around. He doesn't know what you're doing, right? So what does he think? He thinks that you're hiding some drugs, right? So he's no longer thinking, okay, you know what? This guy is cool. He gets it. He's showing me respect. His license is clean. He has no warrants. Everything's fine, so you know what? I'm going to give this guy a break. I'm not going to give him a ticket. Let me let this guy go. Like, he's thinking, you know what? I am going to, now I'm going to give this guy a ticket because he's moving around the car. He's making me concerned and nervous and agitated. And on top of it, I'm probably going to have to pull him out of the car, call for a backup, right? And look in his car because the guy's moving all around his car. I don't know what he's hiding. Right? So you don't need to do that to yourself, right? So just sit tight, put your hands on your wheel. I don't care if it takes him 15 or 20 minutes to decide what he's going to do. Just sit there and don't move. Don't move your head. And just be patient and wait. Now look, what have we accomplished by this procedure? Okay, what have we accomplished? Number one, there's a good chance that the policeman is going to let you go. Now, I'm not going to call odds on it. Depends upon the time of the month. It depends upon what type of detail that officer is on. Depends upon how fast you were going. Listen, if you're doing 100 miles an hour, you're getting a ticket. All right, but by doing this stuff, if you're doing 100 miles an hour, maybe he's going to mark that ticket down to like 80 miles an hour and give you a break on the ticket, right? Make a more severe ticket less severe, right? Maybe if there's some equipment violations on your car, he won't give you those equipment violations. He'll give you some kind of a break. Number two, on the back of those tickets, you know, depending upon which kind of state you're in and how every jurisdiction works, there are backup notes where the officer writes notes, you know, to the file, you know, about your attitude and how you were. Now, if you plead not guilty and you go in, you know, different jurisdictions work differently. Sometimes you're negotiating with the actual police officer in court, if you take it to court, you know, about a reduction in your charge, or sometimes you're negotiating with the prosecutor or the state's attorney, depending upon where you're going. They're going to either be dealing with the officer you dealt with that day, and remember by his notes that you were cooperative, that you're a reasonable person, or you'd be dealing with a prosecutor who's going to be looking at the notes from the police officer saying you're a reasonable person. You know what? It's a lot more likely they're going to give you a break in court, right? If you were acting that way, than if you were being obnoxious, right? Fighting with the police in a traffic stop is definitely not to your advantage, okay? There's a time to fight and there's a time to cooperate, right? So the message of my video is, if you're pulled over for a motor vehicle violation, right, your best chance of getting the optimal result that you want, which is to have no ticket at all, is to cooperate and be as nice as possible to policemen and follow the methods that I've laid out in this video. If you have any questions about anything, post a comment. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has. Thanks for watching, and best of luck out there on the road. Enjoy.